Hello, it is 3:30, which of course means it is time for one of our afternoon STEM shows here at the Headwaters Science Center. My name is Ryan, I'm one of the educators here, and today I'm joined by Orion, who you've seen in the show every Wednesday for the last, well, almost every Wednesday for the last however many months we've been doing this, almost a year now, honestly. And if you're a regular viewer, you know that every Wednesday we take a break from doing demos and experiments and take a little time to read a little story. And so today what I have with me is a book called Meerkat Male that I'm assuming is going to be about a bunch of meerkats. I actually haven't read this book yet, so I'm kind of excited to see what it is. Normally our director Lee is the one doing these readings, so he picks out the books, but he couldn't be here today. He's got a meeting that he had to be in instead, so I'm substituting in for him. But if you are interested in visiting the Headwaters Science Center, we are open 7 days a week. So Monday through Saturday, we're open from 9:30 to 5. Sundays are open from 1 to 5. And I gotta say, if you're somebody who's maybe a little leery of crowds right now, which makes sense, now would be the time to come and visit. Weekdays during the school year and this kind of fall time of year are generally going to be our slowest times. So if you come and visit, like I said, at 3:30 on a Wednesday, for example, you're probably going to be one of very few, if any, other people here. So, like I said, if you're somebody who's looking to dodge crowds, come on a weekday right about now. But, like I said, we're going to be reading this story called Meerkat Male. And I know one of the deals that Lee has worked out with Orion is that we're not supposed to talk about any large carnivores in these stories. And I will say meerkats are carnivores. I don't know if they quite qualify as large carnivores. They certainly wouldn't be a large carnivore that Orion would ever deal with, because Orion is a domestic rabbit that lives here in Bemidji, Minnesota. The species that domestic rabbits are from are actually from Europe, but meerkats live all the way in Africa, and specifically they live way in southern Africa for the most part. So meerkats are not an animal that Orion would ever have to worry about in the wild. Like I said, I also don't know if they're big enough for it to be hunting an animal the size of Orion. But I think we'll get started here. Again, this is Meerkat Male by Emily Gravitt. Sunny lives in the Kalahari Desert. It is very dry and very hot. Sometimes Sunny thinks it is too hot. And so you can see we're getting into the realm of fiction a little bit already, where we can see Sunny has a shovel and is making sand castles and has a fan there. You can see the ants with the parachute. And it looks like he had some ice cream there, and I wonder, it looks like he's got a grasshopper or something there. I wonder if that was part of his ice cream, because I know meerkats do eat a lot of bugs. Or I wonder if that's something that was stealing his ice cream like the ants are. Sunny comes from a large family. They work together, they play together, they eat together, learn together, and sleep together. And there's a sign here that says, "Remember, a meerkat alone is on its own. Stay safe, stay together, and stay away from jackals." And so jackals are a type of African dog that probably would be really eager to eat a meerkat. And again, we can see a couple more type of food things here, which is kind of cool. So you can see these two meerkats here have, this one's got like a beetle of some sort on its bib, and this one's got, looks like a scorpion. And looks like they're sharing some kind of little snake there that they're eating. So getting a good idea of what all these what these meerkats are eating out there in the Kalahari Desert, which, like I said, is down in southern Africa. Another kind of cool thing on here that you don't see in a lot of animals is it talks about how they're learning together, and it shows like an adult meerkat teaching a bunch of kids, or whatever baby meerkats are called, kits, I would bet, which is something that's unique, and I would be interested to see if that's like a real thing that happens, because there's not a lot of animals out there that like go out and like actively teach their young things. Like the young will like mimic the parents and see what the parents are doing, but to have a parent or an adult of the species actually go out and deliberately be teaching the young something is kind of interesting. In fact, they do everything together. They are very close. Sometimes Sunny thinks that they're too close. So you can see, looks like Sunny's getting teased by some of his younger cousins there. You can see more of the grasshoppers out there. Sometimes Sunny wishes that he could live somewhere else. So he packs his suitcase and writes his family a note. The note says, "Dear everyone, I'm off to find somewhere perfect to live. Don't worry, Mom, I'll be staying with our mongoose relatives, so I will be quite safe. Love, Sonny. P.S. I promise to write." Interesting. He's got a suitcase there. It looks like a alligator skin, probably crocodile skin because it's Africa skin suitcase. I don't know where a meerkat would get that. But it says, obviously, also that mongooses and meerkats are close relatives of each other, said they're cousins, which is actually true. There are a lot of different types of mongoose out there, and really they look a lot like things like weasels or like fishers like we have around here, but they're actually not that closely related. Fishers and the like are more closely related to dogs, whereas mongoose and meerkats are more closely related to cats. On Monday, Sonny visits his Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob's family makes him feel very welcome, but Sonny just doesn't fit in. Let's see, he goes somewhere where they have African red hornbills, and this looks like it opens up. We got another postcard. Okay. I think I see where this is going now. It says, "To Mom and Dad, it's a lot like being home here, except that I am the biggest. The weather is sunny, and the food is fantastic. Lots of scorpions, yum. Best thing is that no one has to keep lookout because there's this bird which goes squawk whenever there is danger. I told Uncle Bob our family motto is stay safe, stay together. He told me theirs is run and hide from Sonny." And I assume that the African hornbill is the one that he's talking about. So it sounds like the meerkats, when they're living together, they have to have one of the meerkats that's hanging out all the time, kind of keeping watch. But these mongooses here, sounds like they have a bird that does that for them. They have a little bit of a symbiotic relationship with the bird, probably. These are dwarf mongooses, is what it says on there. Which seemingly live in Africa, too. But after visiting Uncle Bob, on Tuesday, Sonny goes to stay with his cousins Scratch and Mitch and the rest of their family. Sonny is getting itchy feet. He decides it's time to move on. Let's see what this guy's had. So this postcard says, "Dear Mom and Dad, we have been living in an old termite mound, but we are moving. There's plenty to eat. Yours ticklishly, Sonny." So these are mongoose that live in a termite mound. And these are called, what this one's called? Banded mongooses live in groups of 10 to 20. Their diet consists mainly of insects, though they are nomadic, moving every few days. The other thing that you can see in the back there that's kind of cool is that looks like a jackal like they had drawn on the board. And so I bet these guys live in the termite mound so the jackals can't get at them. They probably have to deal with jackals just like the mongooses, or just like the meerkats do. It said they move every few days, so they hang out in termite mounds and then they move on to probably another set of termite mounds. On Wednesday, he arrives at his cousin Edward's. And this one looks like it's on a farm. So it says, Dear Mom, Dad, Granddad, and Grandma, I'm staying on a farm. Ed's favorite food is chicken. I haven't tried it yet, but I've had plenty of eggs. Tell Mickey they're not as good as scorpions. Love, Sonny." And then it says, this is an Indian gray mongoose. Live alone in forests and fields. They often stay close to human habitation and have been known to attack domestic poultry. So, Sonny is not at all sure eggs totally agree with them. And this is something we actually talked about on a show the other day where we talked about how eggs are something that not all carnivores can eat. And so I guess I don't know if that exactly works with meerkats, if they can't eat eggs, but sounds like it maybe is the case, even if this type of mongoose can. On Thursday, he heads off to stay with his cousins Mildred and Frank. This card says, I heart rainy days. It says, Dear Mom, Dad, and everyone, it is raining quite hard. Hope the weather is better at home. Loads of love from, he's crossed out Sonny and said rainy. It says, P.S. Great Aunt Maureen was right. I should have brought an umbrella. And it says, these are Liberian mongooses. And here at Rainforest, they feed mainly on earthworms and beetle larvae. So he's moving a long ways. He was just in India last session. Now he's in Liberia, which is all the way back in Africa. He's not taking a very efficient route. Sonny hates getting wet, so he decides to leave, and it said he was from the Kalahari Desert, which is very dry. By Friday evening, Sonny has reached Madagascar. Sonny is afraid of the dark. He can't think of anything worse. This postcard says Malagasy nightlife. It says, Dear all, arrived at Auntie B's and Uncle Rob's. It is very late and very dark. I think it may be past my bedtime. Aunt and Uncle Rob don't seem to notice. I am leaving as soon as it gets light. Yawns faithfully, wish you were here, Sonny. So, sounds like the unique thing with these mongooses, which are Malagasy mongooses, is that they're nocturnal. Which, I don't know, kind of surprises me if there aren't more nocturnal mongooses, to be honest. That seems like something that would thrive at night. But seemingly not, since they're talking about how it's unique with these guys. Sonny is afraid of the dark. He can't think of anything worse. Until on Saturday, he arrives at Great Aunt Flo's. And this one says, Dearest family, Great Aunt Flo lives on her own in a marsh. It is a dark and wet. The food is disgusting, and I am lonely, cold, and tired. I really, really, really wish you were here, or that I was not. All of my love, kisses and snuggles, Sonny. And these are marsh mongooses. Are solitary and nocturnal. They're good swimmers and prefer to live near water. The diet consists of crabs, snails, and frogs. And I don't know where these are from. It doesn't exactly say. So there's a little stamp on a lot of these, and that stamp almost, I don't know. They've been pretty well able to get a hint of where all these places are from, but I don't recognize that language. It almost sounds Greek, but I don't know. Sonny is beginning to worry that nowhere is right for him. But then, on Sunday, Sonny arrives somewhere very dry and very hot, where everyone is very close. This looks familiar. It says, I'm home! You can see there's all of his other meerkat friends, and it is perfect. So he's back home. He did his little globe trotting all throughout North Africa and Central Asia and lapped all the way back and went to Madagascar, and now he's out back home in, kind of by South Africa. You can see actually the things I kind of just noticed is that the jackal's been chasing him everywhere as he's been alone, but as soon as he gets home, the other meerkats go and they chase the jackal off. So he's been getting hunted this whole time. Yeah. It looks like the end of that. So I thought this book was kind of cool because, you wouldn't expect there to be a children's book out there that is about, all the different types of mongoose that exist in the world. I feel like that's a really unique little niche that's kind of interesting. And like I said, kind of a fun little geography lesson too, where we saw all the places where that mongooses live. And also why, certain species live where they do. It talked about how, he lives with other meerkats and how the meerkats help each other with things like predators and teaching the young how to do things. But not all of the things that are closely related to him do that. And he didn't fit in very well in the places where that wasn't the case because he's not a mongoose, he's a meerkat. And so I hope you enjoyed listening to that, hearing that. Tomorrow, it's probably going to be me, and I'm going to be trying to figure out some kind of show to do around this. That's kind of how these go, is usually Lee reads the book on Wednesday, and then either Angie or I follows up with a little more in-depth science-y look at some topic that was in the book. So I'll probably be doing that tomorrow. It'll probably be me tomorrow. Meanwhile, again, if you want to come visit the Science Center, we are open 7 days a week right now, and I guess particularly relevant to rabbit reading is that we just introduced 2 new rabbits out on the exhibit floor. They're not coming out and visiting with guests just yet. They've appeared on camera a couple times during these shows, and like I said, you can come and see them out on the exhibit floor, but we like to ease our animals into these things. So they've been living behind the scenes for about 2 weeks, and they just came out on the floor the other day. So we're letting them hang out on the exhibit floor, kind of get a sense for the sights and sounds of the place before we start taking them out and having them interact with guests in a big way. But if you come by in a couple weeks, they should be able to come out, just like Orion has been for the last, 6 years now or so Orion's been here. So we got the new ones because Orion's getting to be kind of an old man. He's getting ready to retire. And so one of these days in the relatively near future, we might have some different bunnies up here getting read to every Wednesday. But that's at least a few weeks away yet. And like I said, thank you all for watching. Stop by and visit us anytime we're open. And like I said, it'll probably be me